Hello and welcome back to the Dark Library with me, the Dark One, and we're going over Episode 8 of Kamen Rider Saber. The one that is sealed is Arthur, which is the second part of the little story we have about the King of Arthur ride book, which is the season mecha for now. Anyway, following up from last week's episode, Tomua has the King of Arthur ride book, and he's given another mysterious book block thing, which might be important later. We don't know right now. There's a lot of stuff we don't know about. No, we deal with that. And Tomua is basically struggling trying to figure out how to use Arthur's power. Now, everyone's a bit happy because, they solved the villain all-out attack from last week. But two of the cities haven't returned yet, so they'll go out again to deal with that. And discover a second Medusa, who turns a cameo from Kamen Rider Bravo and Orin into stone. This is a cameo because Bravo's actor is playing the mysterious figure telling about the King Arthur book in this show. So he's in this twice. Also, there's a Gaim special going on right now, a Gaim Gaiden story, which looks really good, and I want to watch it once it gets translated, so I'm waiting on that. Because I love Gaim. I'll talk about that when I talk about Gaim in like a year. He's there for their cameo. They get turned to stone by the Medusa. And then the riders show up and they fight the Medusa. When Legios, I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, he shows up and Caliber shows up. And so it's this 2-on-1 and 2-on-1 and then 1-on-1 battle. And Tomua is getting his ass kicked because he can't really focus. Interestingly enough, in this battle, we also figure out that Caliber has the third book Saber needs to finish his combo, which is the Journey to the West book. He uses that with his sword, which corrupts books, so gives a different call sign than the other ones. It corrupts the book, so that'll probably be a thing when Tomua eventually gets his book back. Probably around episode 10 or so. We don't know, because that's typically when a super form gets debuted, and these are kind of super forms in a way. The complete form, as I'm going to call them, the complete suits. Anyway, him and Tomua fight, and Tomua's getting his ass kicked when the second Medusa shows up, or technically the third Medusa. As it turns out, there are 3 Medusas. This is a reference to the fact that there are 3 Gorgon sisters. Now, interestingly enough, this reference is kind of right, kind of wrong, because there's only one actual Medusa, and the other 2 are just Gorgons. And the Gorgons don't have the ability to turn people to stone. Only Medusa does. That's why she gets the whole big moment of getting her head cut off and her head being used as a weapon. So the reference is appreciated, if not 100% right, but still pretty cool to see it referenced in some way. It was also kind of referenced in Fate, because fate is fate. But anyway, back to Saber. So Tomua's now getting 2-on-1 and getting his ass kicked. When Buster breaks off from his fight and goes to help Saber, he distracts the Medusa because he's about to turn him to stone because she wants to avenge her sister. Saber wasn't the one to kill your sister. If I'm remembering right from last episode, Buster killed the Medusa last episode, so why is he trying to kill Saber, saying it will avenge her sister? Maybe it's just swordsman in general. So yeah, she turns Buster to stone, and he has his death flag for the episode. Thankfully they don't shatter his statue, because that would have been really bad. So yeah, Buster's defeated and taken out, and everyone goes back to base to recuperate, because again, they've gotten their asses kicked, and Tomua's basically gone all in on trying to figure out how the hell do I use this book. So while that's going on, the villains are coming up with their next plan, which basically is the same plan. Just go out and wreck shit again. And Tomua has a really interesting moment with Sora and May. Oh yeah, also I forgot to mention, May in this episode, she finally goes to the source of Logos HQ, and it's kind of a cute moment where she's, spazzing out about it. Again, I know people don't like May. I like May, and her little kind of cute little nerdy freak-out moments are adorable to me. So, this little sequence of her freaking out about the source of Logos HQ, that's cute. I love it. I like May. She's in the HQ now. Sophia seems to like her. Maybe she'll get a sword. Like, the part of me is like, let me be a writer. Come on, we already have like, so we have 6 writers, we have 7 now, episode preview. But come on, let me be a writer show, come on. Anyway, so, they're discussing their plans. Toma tells Sora that his dad's basically dead. Like, not dead, but kind of taken out. But interestingly enough, when he goes to sulk back at his bookstore, Sora actually goes out and comforts him in an honestly really cute way, because he just believes in his dad. He believes, well, my dad will be fine because he's great. And it's like, it's a really cute moment between Sora and Toma. Sora's just encouraging Toma and asking him to make a promise and ask him to promise him that he'll win next time, knowing that Toma always tries to fulfill his promises, which, smart on the kid. I like this kid. He didn't do a lot in his last appearance, outside of being the victim of the week for 2 weeks, but he had a good little mini arc there. And right now, he's proving to be one of the best kid characters in Kamen Rider, which is saying something. There aren't a lot of good kid characters in Kamen Rider. He comforts Toma. May also comes and comforts Toma and has a moment where she asks him about the manuscript and has a little freak out there, which Toma laughs at, and is like, so I was like, now you're acting like yourself. It's a cute moment between these characters. And then Toma comes up with a plan, which he visualizes by writing a novel. So I'm like, I kind of like this, just to show who he is as a person, as a character. So, he comes up with the plan, and it's actually a really good plan, when they show up to fight the bad guys again. So basically, it's a good plan. He has Kento and Ren go off and fight Caliber because they have good synchronicity, and they have a similar fighting style. In fact, they're both really fast. So, when one's swiping, the other one goes back, the other one can swipe in, and Caliber won't have time to, respond to that. He'll just have to be on the defensive the whole fight. And I'm like, this is actually a really good plan. And then he has, Rentaro deal with Logios because, he dealt with the last guy. He dealt with Zuos last episode, so he could deal with Logios. So he's trying to deal with that with his complete form. And Toma, I think he drew the short here because he has to deal with both Medusai at the same time. Is that the plural for Medusa? Medusai? I don't know. He has to deal with both of them at the same time, which is kind of like drawing the short straw here. But you know what? He does it. He's fighting them and doing a pretty good job of it. It's a good plan. Really good plan. We even get to see Ren use the 3 Little Pigs book and get the little armor thing into the Shadow Clone Jutsu because Ninja. Still don't like the fact that his Sora yells Nin Nin because it keeps giving me Nin Ninja flashbacks, and I really hate that show. But good plan, good fights. Really, this episode has a lot of good fights. So the Medusa eventually get pissed off and does a really cool thing where it uses its hair to grab some floating rocks and tries to throw them at Toma, and then he summons a giant sword to deflect them and beat them back. And it's a really good use of the Medusa hair thing, the prehensile hair. And then the other Medusa grows giant size after Toma kills it and summons a giant meteor that Toma summons the series requisite mecha to deal with, and the King of Arthur thing. And the King of Arthur mecha takes out the meteor, kind of getting in half. And yeah, our boy has. And then they say today because Toma killed both the Medusa. Logios retreats and Caliber retreats, and the day is saved. And thankfully, Buster's not dead. Buster gets turned back from stone, and has a cute moment with his son, and basically says, my plan worked. My plan, I did all the work. I'm kind of tired from all this work I just did. And everyone's like, you didn't do shit. And it's kind of a cute moment between all the characters, where even Sophia's like, they're such a great team now. Like, yeah, they're a team. They're a Sentai team. I mean, they basically are a Sentai. I mean, we have a Red Ranger, a Blue Ranger, a Yellow Ranger, and oddly a Gray Ranger and a Green Ranger, and the Purple Ranger's evil. And we have a Pink Ranger coming soon, so we have a Sentai team. Like, people made jokes about, 01 having a Sentai team, especially with the OP. Now, this is a Sentai team right here. These 5 are a Sentai team, and I kind of love it. Like, I'm pretty sure someone's going to die, though, because the death flags are high, and it's almost time for Christmas, and that's typically when the characters start dropping off for the Q3 toys. I think we're in Q2 right now in terms of toys, or we're still in Q1. Either way, we do know what the next major toy will be, which is the Kamen Rider Slash Sword, who will show up next time. well, he's here, but he'll actually transform next time. So we'll figure out why he couldn't transform next time. We'll figure out that whole thing next time. So yeah, this was a pretty quick episode. It was mostly fight scenes, which I like the fight heavy episodes, but it doesn't really leave a lot to talk about. But it was a good episode with lots of cool action. Toma's progressive character arc of being a good boy. Again, a good kid character with a good kid moment. And I'm like, this is actually a good moment that I honestly enjoy. Again, really cool fights. I do want to mention at the very end of the episode, though, because we get a shot of Caliber not transformed, which is a very rare sight, looking at a photo of himself, Sophia, and potentially the previous Saber. Now, again, we know with the voice modulator, it's very, very unlikely that Hayato is actually the one under the Caliber suit. I've heard some theories going around right now that's actually the previous Saber under the Caliber suit. We don't know yet, but we'll figure out. We'll figure out eventually. But it's good. It was a fun episode. Really, really funny cameo, in all honesty. And yeah, next episode we'll be getting the debut of Kamen Rider Slash and another new character to join the cast. I don't know what she's going to do though, but she's a new character, so yeah, that's interesting. And yeah, that's it for the episode. And then again, this was a quick episode. It was mostly fight scenes, so see you next week. Oh yeah, speaking of, we won't actually have an episode next week. Next episode of Saber will be out on the 8th. The reason for that being, I think they're broadcasting something in the time slot, so they're just pushing the episode back. This is just something that happens all the time in Japan, so it isn't like the whole 015 episode loss from the coronavirus lockdown. This is more of this was a pre-programmed broadcasting. Like last year, there was a whole bit where Fire Force didn't have any new episodes for a couple of weeks because of something. I think it was like some sports competition. I think this is a similar thing, but thankfully it's only for 1 week. So yeah, see you not next week, but the week after. Till then, everybody.